Sometimes the story we're telling ourselves in the middle of a big tantrum or upset is, this is never going to end and I can't take it.
So talk to me a little bit about these expectations we have for our children.
Well, they really can run the gamut, but one of the biggest expectations we have is around their behavior, right? And how they or are not able to control their impulses, plan and think ahead. Largely, a lot of really executive function skills, which is sort of a gap in knowledge for parents that those skills don't really build until much later in a human's life. They're actually the last part of the brain to develop, usually in like the mid to late 20s. So it's kind of a setup that we want our 2 or 3 year old to be able to manage their emotions or expectations. And they really can't. Like, the part of their brain that does that is not wired yet. So that is so important for parents to know.
So then what do we do? Like,
yes,
what happens when our kids are running amok or whatever,
or having a meltdown, right? Or having big feelings that they are moving through, right? And I think that that's part of another piece that's helpful, is to really think about what emotions are. And to understand where they are seated in our brains. So we like to think of ourselves as thinking creatures who sometimes have feelings, but in reality, we are emotional creatures who can sometimes think. So we've got it a little bit flipped for what our expectations are of ourselves as well. Like, we are much more prone to, as many of you have probably come to find out once you have children, and they are so like triggering and stimulating to our emotional content that we're like, whoa, I didn't even know that was there. But part of it is just knowing that once a feeling is triggered, that it is a biological, physiological event that we kind of have to move through, right? And for children, that can take a while because they are small and the part of their brain that helps them calm down isn't wired yet. So knowing that just kind of shifts the paradigm a little bit so that we can know that, it's not an emergency too, because when our brain starts to get, Dan Siegel calls it flipping your lid, or, there's lots of different ways to think about it, that we need to calm ourselves down first. And then once we have access to our prefrontal cortex, which is that lovely part of the brain that helps us get calm when we're upset, we kind of have to like let our children borrow it or provide the anchoredness and the steadiness that we gain from our getting to that emotionally regulated place. And then we hold some space for them to get through their feeling. And part of it is that trust piece of just knowing that they'll get through it. It ends whether we're yelling, it ends whether we're sitting calmly and keeping ourselves safe from getting hit. It ends eventually, and reminding yourself of that is a huge piece.
I think one thing that's been helpful for me and some of the parents that I work with is we know what it's like to embody that trigger where your whole body feels like it's going to explode. And if we feel that as adults, imagine what young people and younger children even feel, and how hard it is to access that prefrontal cortex and get calm. Wouldn't it be amazing if as adults we had people to borrow a little co-regulation from in those moments?
Well, I mean, some of us do that on purpose, right? Like, if you get upset, you might call a friend or a trusted therapist or somebody to help you through. A lot of part of like a bigger frame too is knowing that this information about the brain is pretty new. And I feel like that can help take some of the sting out of it, because maybe there are parents who are young enough that they received a little bit more emotionally intelligent parenting. But my parents certainly did not have this information about the brain in the 70s and 80s. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they didn't have this information. They were working off of the best knowledge that they had. But, I was not raised to experience a full entire range of emotions from calm, regulated adults, right? Yeah. And that's really what kids need. And that information that's really what kids need is pretty new. So part of it is like a lot of self-compassion, like the calm that we would bring to our child, we have to bring to ourselves first. And most of us didn't have a great model for that, is what I'm trying to get at.
So in some ways, we are kind of reparenting ourselves along the way. And I love
Absolutely.
to tell that to parents, like, it's okay that you're developing these skills right along with your children.
It's a bit of double duty, but you could regard it as a blessing or a curse or both.
Sometimes
But it's
it feels
just,
like both.
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what's real is that I want my child to have a skill and an experience that I'm still learning myself. So
Yeah.